Pleasant good afternoon, Mr. Williams, and all those who are joining us via all the various means. Thank you for being here with us again one more week. And we hope that you could continue until we reach the end of this pandemic and crisis. This week, I want to address just a few things. The National COVID-19 Task Force would have met yesterday, and we would have discussed a number of matters. And I am happy to hear Superintendent Henry speak to the regulations and also speak to the downward trend in cases and the positive outlook in terms of the resumption of social activities and other social activities as well, besides just entertainment. And I will speak to that in a bit in my presentation. I'm also happy to see that Dr. Lars would have shared with us the sunshine, and I am certain the message behind that is that the light is at the end of the tunnel, and we should be looking to some lovely times ahead. Correct, Dr. Lars? Wonderful. I just assumed, yeah? Right, Dr. Wilkinson? Right, correct. Right, so I think we need to feel happy, and I want to pause and commend the population of St. Kitts and Nevis, our citizens, residents, visitors, everyone who has entered our shores during these difficult times, and everyone who has endured during these difficult times. I think the perspective and the forecast and the trajectory that we are seeing seems positive at the time. We have done a great job together, collaboratively, in managing this wave, and I want you to rest assured that we will continue to work to ensure that St. Kitts Nevis moves in the right direction. However, in order for us to do that, we have to continue with the non-pharmaceutical measures. I have been contacted by a number of business owners questioning about the protocols, for example, the distancing. They have been asking about the temperature checks and the bookkeeping, meaning the recording of names, etc. And for now, we want you to continue. We want to encourage you to continue for now. And we every week, we are reviewing the protocols. We are looking at the numbers, and we are looking at how we can ease a number of the restrictions going forward. So that is being taken into consideration, bearing in mind that even within the task force itself, you have a number of members who are very social. Even, I have my good friend here to my left. He loves it. He loves his karaoke, so I know he wants to return to that. And also, the good doctor has been rather precise, but I think it's time, he wants to have some flexibility, yes? So I want the general public to understand that we are getting there. So the Ministry of Education would have resumed in-person learning schooling the 24th, which would have been last Monday. By next week, we want to review and see what the impact has been for our students to return to in-class learning, in-person learning in the schools. And that is something of urgent matter for us. We want to give it a lot of attention to make sure that there is no significant impact to our students. And with that said, please, if you are over the age of 12, encourage yourself, encourage your children, teach them about the vaccine, and take them to get vaccinated and protect them. We are hoping that by next week we will meet with the officials from the Ministry of Education so that they can give us the perspective, the challenges, the concerns that they have, as well as give us whatever progress they have seen in having the children back in the classroom. I am happy because it was not easy, to see some of the challenges, especially psychosocial impact it's having on children. So I'm happy that this has taken place. Equally so, let me bring it to the tourism aspect of things. I have been receiving a lot of calls, and, some people have come rather aggressively in terms of the cruise ships and the cruise ship cancellations, etc. Let me just say, the task force has not canceled any ships from coming here. And yesterday we would have had an extensive discussion in this regard because we have been strong advocates, supporters, facilitators of ensuring that our economy remains vibrant, and also we can get people back to work, and we can get our economy to that competitive level regionally, internationally, but most importantly, nationally. So what happens? Even before pre-COVID situation, as reported by Public Health, ships have to give their maritime declaration forms. They have to do this, I think, 24, 48 hours before they come into the port, next port. And if they meet the criteria, regulations for the particular port that they're going to, then they will be granted pratique, meaning that yes, they can dock and they can disembark, etc. Now, if they don't meet that and there's a concern, then they will not be granted pratique. Not being granted pratique means that they will not be able to dock at our ports and disembark, etc. St. Kitts Nevis, as adopted by our Federal Cabinet of Ministers, has a threshold of a 1% positivity rate on the ship. With that 1% positivity rate, if the ship does not meet that 1% positivity rate, then that means the ship may not be able to dock. And I say may not be able to dock. However, if they are under the 1%, then, and they meet the other criteria in the Maritime Declaration, then the ships will be allowed to dock in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Yesterday in our reports by Public Health, I was rather pleased, and this goes to all the persons in the tourism sector, whereby, with your permission, CMO, the CMO would have reported that, and also Dr. Wilkinson, that a level of flexibility is taken whereby a risk analysis is done of the maritime declaration that is submitted prior to the ship arriving in our waters. And we have gone as far as flexing to a 1.7% positivity rate on ship. So what that means is that we have actually given a 0.7% increase in the scale that our regulations basically outlines. So flexibility has been happening, and that is why you see that I am happy that the CMO made that report yesterday to the task force in terms of the ships and the cancellation of some of these ships. So what will happen, based on what we were informed, that some of these ships may have a 4 or 5% positivity rate on the ship. So therefore, they themselves will take the position of not coming to our ports, or our port here in St. Kitts and Nevis to dock, because they realize they're already gone way beyond the threshold. And the fact that we have been flexible in having that range between 1 and 1.7, I think is rather commendable, and is important for you, the general public, and in particular those in the tourism sector, to know the flexibility that has been happening. So the way forward now, what do you expect? Where do we want to go? We have been discussing in terms of increasing the threshold. I cannot say to what number, because that has to take another round of discussions, and then this has to be taken to cabinet. And the federal cabinet will determine whether we are at a stage where we can absorb that particular risk in the country by increasing the threshold of the positivity rate percentage in St. Kitts and Nevis. It is our understanding, when we engage about what is happening in the region, in particular in the other OECS countries, we also learned that Bahamas, in particular, talking about the English speaking, Bahamas has a 2% threshold. So some research is going to be done to see what has been the impact of having a 2% threshold in your country. So with that, we are hopeful that by the time the medical team comes back with that data, we can then deliberate and make a recommendation to the cabinet to increase the threshold, or to remain, or for the threshold to remain as it is, based on the risk assessment and analysis that will be done. So I hope that has brought some attention to those in the tourism sector who thinks that is a thing that, you know, just the information comes, task force, so anybody says, no, the ship is not coming in. It doesn't work that way. It's a very comprehensive process led by our chief medical officer and supported by all members of the task force and the medical, and the medical team as well, the NEOC, in terms of how the process goes. So it's just not a nilly-willy process that, no, don't come, because it impacts everything that we do here in St. Kitts and Nevis in terms of the cruise industry. So I'm hoping that this will bring some light to the cruise ship matter. I also want to raise with you, while we are the tourism subject, the air traffic into St. Kitts and Nevis. So we have made some adjustments, as I said before, and I will say it again. We have made some significant adjustment to our entry process, and not the protocols, but the entry process itself. And we are providing you with more guidance in the event that you find yourself in a situation where your flight has been canceled. You will see in the letter that you receive, it will say basically what to do if your flight has been canceled. We have been experiencing a number of cancellation by some of our major airlines into St. Kitts and Nevis, and once that happens, please use the contact information that is provided to you, and everything will be done to facilitate you, as we need to get our citizens, residents, and even our visitors into St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, as it regards to stayover passengers, I have been in discussion with the hotel operators for the past week in terms of the impact that the Omicron has had on them. The majority of the impact has been on the workforce, having a significant reduction in the number of persons that are impacted or come out to work. And with that said, they have had to balance, and they have done a great job in terms of balancing, and also trying to encourage persons to vaccinate, because if you're vaccinated, you recover quickly and you can return to work much more quickly. And also, we have also seen, based on the reports from them, the impact that the classification CDC has labeled St. Kitts as a Category 4 country has also had in terms of those groups that are coming to St. Kitts and Nevis. So, however, for now, what is positive for us is that we have not seen, according to the reports from those service providers, that the groups are canceling. That is welcoming information. We are hopeful that we can continue to have these groups having confidence in our destination, and we hope that as the numbers go down, the CDC can be so kind to consider St. Kitts and Nevis and reduce the classification of St. Kitts and Nevis as a level 4 and reduce that level to a more welcoming level. I also want to touch another sector which was critical for us yesterday. We engaged yesterday with a number of sporting entities. One such sporting entities yesterday that we spoke with was with the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association. And I must report to you that we were quite pleased in terms of the grassroots, the grassroots league, the youth league, as well as the female team. I think the female, they must be commended, where they have reached a threshold of over 65% of them being fully vaccinated. We know that they have gone overseas, and we have given them their support, the necessary support. They have gone overseas to represent the federation, and they have been doing well, and we must commend them, and we will continue to support them. And we are hopeful that we can get them playing football in a competitive manner very soon. My understanding is that they should be practicing. However, the competitive part of it, very soon, we should have that in order for them. The youth league and the grassroots league, we are satisfied by what has been presented. We are hopeful that as soon as we take this to cabinet, we can have a favorable outcome for the football fraternity. Now, the biggest discussion is the senior league, and we have been open to reduce it, looking at the threshold that has been set before, and we are quite satisfied that that can be reviewed, and we need to have football, and we all agreed that we will do our best to facilitate the resumption of the senior league as soon as possible. We are not here to impede or try to stop the league from starting. That is not our focus. Our focus has always been how we can resume all sectors in a safe manner. So I want to put that out there. The president would have bring a delegation of himself and 2 other persons to present to the task force, and we were rather satisfied with what has been presented. They have been given some guidance for them to go and do some more work. I must say to you that we have facilitated a number of international matches with the previous members of the executive, Mr. Jacob and the team. So protocols are already there. So this association basically just need to package and bring it forward so that we can get the footballers playing. As I said before, football is a religion here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we need to get this sporting activity going. And I want to take this opportunity to make an appeal to all sectors of the sporting community to bring your proposal forward, engage. If not, I will be reaching out to you very, very soon to give you some guidance in terms of the protocols and how we can resume all these sporting activities as soon as possible. We also reviewed the drag racing in Nevis as a proposal was submitted, and this proposal was met with welcoming and satisfactory protocols and guidelines as outlined by the submission, and we will now be taking this to Cabinet, hopefully by tomorrow morning, where we will meet at the Cabinet and make the presentation to get Cabinet's blessings on this, and then communicate to the Drag Racing Association on Nevis. To the DJs playing at bars, the entertainers, we have you under the radar to work with you as soon as possible as we continue to have control over this outbreak. And we are hopeful that we can meet and engage and consult and use the previous information that we have collected from you to hopefully open up this sector as soon as possible and have it functioning in a safe manner. However, I want to solicit the cooperation of all with the compliance officers and the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force as they are doing their best to ensure that we have a safe environment. So please have some more patience. We are going to get back to you as soon as possible. It's on the agenda item for our next meeting to discuss the entertainment sector to comprehensively and to see how soon we can get you up and running. Mr. Williams, I know I'm not as brief as Mr. Henry, but I want to also use this opportunity to promote the St. Kitts and Nevis Population and Housing Census 2021-2022. The Population Housing Census is planned and performed by the Department of Statistics, and it is my understanding that they are getting ready to roll out this program. They will be meeting with the National COVID-19 Task Force in terms of protocols of engagement during the context of COVID-19, and we are hopeful that you, as well as us, can give them the necessary support so that we can have this activity become a success. So please support the St. Kitts and Nevis Population and Housing Census 2021-2022, and let's get ready to give your full participation and cooperation to this census. Thank you very much, and we look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. We'll start the ball rolling.